Digital media's effect on journalism hasn't shaken the core values a journalist must possess. However, it has changed who a journalist is and the role he or she must play.
I think anyone who is willing to follow a code of ethical conduct, tell the truth, and not be a tool of like an advertiser can be considered a journalist. Now, how you define that and actually decide that, I have no idea. There's no council that sits and decides who journalists are, and that's probably a good thing. In the end, the audience decides who journalists are.
I think no matter what the industry moves to, that's what to keep your eye on, is like who's really good at finding the truth and reporting it accurately and well and in a way that we can get it pretty quickly.
I think having a website like the Washington Post where journalists choose what we think are the most important stories of the day is our job. Okay? Now, whether you choose to read these stories, that's up to you. But a majority of people actually like us to say to them, these are the top 5 stories of the day that are important to you in your life and maybe your future. And so take a look.
But the role of a journalist is more than discerning what is important. Now, journalists need to be able to tell the story in different ways to different audiences.
The medium has the potential to make a much better journalism if we, as journalists, learn how to use it well. It's like, we used to be able to build houses with basically a saw, a hammer, and screwdrivers. Now you've got this whole litany of power tools you could use. You can make a better house, but if you use the tool the wrong way, all you've done is, use power tools poorly.
One of the words that a colleague of mine who runs the Pulitzer Prizes, a guy named Sig Gisler, a professor named Sig Gisler, runs, he coined a term called the tradigital journalist. That is somebody who's got all the skills of a traditional journalist: accuracy, honesty, fairness, in-depth knowledge, all that stuff, but on top of it has a digital overlay of all these new skill sets. And those are the people who are going to have terrific careers in the years ahead.
The smarter, better broadcasters are looking for people who understand and live the technology. Because if you don't have someone who lives texting and how the new media is working and is being used, then you have a team that's not doing everything it can and should be doing to thrive.
Every journalist should have new media skill set, which is all this technology, all that stuff. But every journalist must also have a new media mindset, and that's the most important thing. Skill set, as I said, your 12-year-old cousin knows it, but the mindset is much harder, but it's also more interesting to acquire and more fun to acquire.
With the revolution of how the story needs to be told, today's journalists have a unique opportunity.
The only consolation I say is you get to reinvent the format. You inherit it as journalists, and then you got to take it to the next level.